Welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at some pretty uh, intense commentary, I guess you could say, about the 2016 election.
Okay.
The source material we're looking at is an audio clip, and the title's it's pretty out there.
Right.
Is this what happens when liberal lunatics don't take their meds.mp3? So, that should give you an idea of what we're getting into.
Oh, wow.
But of course, our goal here isn't to endorse these views or debunk them. We just want to kind of understand the arguments being made, you know?
Right, like taking a look under the microscope.
Exactly. So one of the big things this audio clip focuses on is this whole idea of Russia interfering in the election.
Yeah.
And specifically point to Reid, the former Senate Majority Leader. Remember him?
Oh, yeah, for sure. He was a big player.
Yeah, so Reid was claiming that Putin, directly interfered to help Trump win. Pretty serious stuff.
It is. And, well, I guess it's not surprising that the Kremlin completely denies any involvement, right? They called Reid's accusations laughable nonsense.
I can imagine.
But then things get even spicier. Reid actually sent a letter to James Comey, who was FBI director at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Claiming he had, quote, explosive information about ties between the Trump campaign and Russia.
Wow, so they're really, really going after Comey in this clip, huh?
Oh, yeah. They bring up his handling of the Clinton email investigation and basically frame him as someone who can't be trusted at all.
So they're using that to kind of discredit anything he might say about this whole Russia thing.
Exactly.
It's all connected, isn't it?
Mm.
But then they bring up Christine Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's daughter.
Okay.
She wrote an open letter to James Clapper, the director of national intelligence, asking for answers about Russian interference.
So it seems like they're going after anyone in a position of authority here.
Right. They don't trust anyone in the government.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where things take a weird turn. The audio clip suddenly shifts gears to this whole thing about Harry Reid saying paying taxes is voluntary in the U.S. They even play a clip of him saying it.
Really? Wow, that seems out of left field.
Yeah, it's a bit jarring, right?
Yeah.
But I think they're using it to further undermine Reid's credibility and make his accusations about Russia seem less believable.
That's a pretty interesting strategy.
So what do you think? What's the main goal here? Is this about uncovering some big truth? Is it just political mudslinging, or is there something else going on?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but we've got these allegations of Russian interference, attacks on people like Comey and Clapper, and then this weird thing about taxes. It's like, what connects all of these things together, and what does it say about how information is presented, you know?
It's like we're trying to solve a puzzle, but we're missing half the pieces.
Exactly. We have to look at not just the information itself, but also the way it's presented, the language used, and how it's trying to persuade the listener.
Yeah, because there's definitely an attempt to persuade here.
Oh, absolutely. And understanding that, I think, can help us all become more critical about the information we're taking in every day. You know, one thing that really jumps out at me is the language they use. It's so aggressive, calling people liberal lunatics and douchebags, even calling Hillary Clinton the Wicked Witch of Wall Street.
Right. They're not even trying to have a reasonable discussion. It's all just name-calling and insults.
Exactly. They're appealing to emotion, not reason.
And I bet that really works on certain listeners, especially if they already have strong opinions about these people.
Oh, for sure. It reinforces their existing biases and makes them feel like they're part of some in-group, the people who see through all the lies and the BS.
Yeah, it's like they're creating this us versus them mentality.
Exactly. And that makes it really hard to have any kind of nuanced conversation or to consider different perspectives.
And they also spend a lot of time attacking the media, right?
Oh, yeah. They claim the mainstream media is part of the problem, that they're covering up the truth about all of this.
Like they're in on some big conspiracy.
Exactly. And they use Reid's taxation is voluntary comment as an example.
Oh, yeah. They say the media ignored that story because it didn't fit their narrative.
Right. So they're basically trying to discredit any source of information that might contradict their claims.
It's like they're trying to create their own reality bubble where only their version of events is considered valid.
That's a good way to put it. And it can be really dangerous, especially in today's world where people are getting so much of their information online.
It's like, how do you even know what to believe anymore?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's why it's so important to be critical of all information we consume, not just the stuff we disagree with.
Yeah, it's easy to dismiss stuff that doesn't align with our beliefs.
Yeah.
But we also need to be skeptical of information that confirms our biases.
Absolutely. We have to be willing to challenge our own assumptions and to look for evidence that might contradict our beliefs.
It's like, even if you love a particular band, you should still be able to admit when they release a bad song, you know?
That's a great
Yeah.
analogy. We have to be able to separate our emotional attachments from our rational judgment.
Okay, so we've talked about the language they use and how they attack the media. What about the way they present information?
Well, one thing I notice is they rely a lot on anecdotes and personal attacks.
Give me an example.
Like, they'll bring up some embarrassing moment from Reid's past or focus on his personality flaws.
Right, instead of actually engaging with his arguments about Russia.
Exactly. It's a classic distraction technique.
It's like, don't shoot the messenger just because you don't like the message.
Right. You still need to evaluate the message on its own merits.
It's like they're saying, hey, look over there.
Yeah,
Well, they're doing something shady over here.
exactly. And it works because it plays on people's emotions.
So what can we do about this? It feels like we're constantly bombarded with this kind of stuff, especially online.
It can be overwhelming, for sure. But the most important thing is to be aware of these tactics.
So we know what to look for.
Exactly. And we need to diversify our information sources.
So don't just rely on one news website or one social media feed.
Right. Read different newspapers, watch different news channels, follow different people on social media, get a variety of perspectives.
And be willing to engage with viewpoints that are different from our own.
Absolutely. It's the only way to get a more complete picture of what's really going on.
It's like if you only ever eat pizza, you're missing out on a whole world of delicious food.
I like the way you think. We need to be open to new experiences, new ideas, new perspectives.
And be willing to admit when we're wrong.
That's a big one. It's okay to change your mind when presented with new evidence.
So we need to be humble and curious.
Exactly. And we need to be aware of our own biases.
Because we all have them, right?
Oh, absolutely. No one is completely objective.
So it's like we're all wearing these tinted glasses that color how we see the world.
That's a great analogy. We need to recognize that we're all looking at things from a particular perspective.
And be willing to adjust our glasses when necessary.
Exactly. We have to be open to the possibility that we might be wrong.
So going back to this audio clip, how can we apply all of this to evaluate what they're saying?
Well, first, we need to separate the emotional stuff from the factual claims.
Like ignore the name calling and focus on the actual evidence they present.
Exactly. Don't get swept up in the rhetoric.
And we also need to remember that they have an agenda, right?
Oh, for sure. They're trying to persuade us of something.
So we need to be skeptical and ask ourselves, why are they presenting this information in this way?
Right. What's their motivation? What are they trying to achieve?
It's like if someone's trying to sell you a car, you don't just take their word for it that it's a good car.
Exactly. You do your research, you check the Carfax, you get a second opinion.
So we need to apply that same level of scrutiny to information, especially when it comes to something as important as politics.
Absolutely. We can't just blindly accept what we're told.
We need to be critical thinkers.
Precisely. We need to question assumptions, evaluate evidence, and consider different perspectives.
And be willing to admit when we're wrong.
That's key. No one has all the answers.
So it's an ongoing process of learning and growth.
Exactly. We're all on this journey together.
And hopefully we can help each other along the way.
Absolutely. By sharing information, having respectful conversations, and being open to new ideas.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about for sure. But I like what you said about empowering ourselves. You know, like we have more control over our information intake than we realize.
Exactly. We're not just helpless victims of the information overload. We can make choices about what we consume, who we trust, and how we engage with different perspectives.
So where do we even start? Like, what are some practical things we can do to become more discerning and critical?
Well, I think it starts with being aware of the different narratives that exist about this election. You know, there's the one that emphasizes Russian interference, and then there's the one that focuses more on domestic political factors.
Right. And then everything in between.
Exactly. And it's important to understand the evidence and arguments that support each of these narratives.
So it's not about picking a side and sticking to it, but more about trying to get a full picture.
Precisely. We need to be willing to engage with the nuances and complexities and recognize that there might not be one definitive answer.
And be open to changing our minds as we learn more.
Absolutely. That's part of being a critical thinker, being open to the possibility that you might be wrong.
So how do we cultivate that kind of open-mindedness?
Well, I think a big part of it is surrounding ourselves with diverse perspectives. You know, break out of those echo chambers and engage with people who hold different views.
So talk to people we disagree with. Read stuff that challenges our assumptions.
Exactly. It's the only way to broaden our understanding.
And be willing to listen, not just try to win an argument.
Oh, absolutely. Listening is key to having a productive conversation, even when you disagree.
It's about seeing the other person as a human being, not just an opponent.
Right. We need to remember that we're all in this together, even if we have different opinions.
So going back to this audio clip, how can we apply these principles? How do we evaluate what they're saying?
Well, one thing we can do is try to separate the emotional appeals from the factual claims.
Like ignore the name calling and focus on the actual evidence.
Exactly. And remember that this source has a clear bias.
They have an agenda.
Right. So we need to ask ourselves, why are they presenting this information in this way? What are they trying to achieve?
It's like if someone's trying to sell you something, you always got to be a little skeptical, right?
Exactly. You don't just take their word for it, you do your own research.
So we need to be smart consumers of information, especially when it comes to politics.
Absolutely. We need to think critically, evaluate the evidence, consider different perspectives.
And be willing to admit when we're wrong.
Exactly. That's how we learn and grow.
So it's an ongoing process.
It is. It's a journey.
And hopefully we can help each other along the way.
I think so. By being open to dialogue and willing to share different perspectives.
Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground from the specifics of this audio clip to the broader challenges of navigating the information landscape.
It's been great talking about all of this with you.
Likewise. And to our listeners, I hope this has given you some food for thought.
I hope so too. And remember, critical thinking is a skill we can all develop, and it's essential for a healthy democracy.
Absolutely. So keep those minds open, stay curious, and keep those conversations going. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.